everybody doing? So I'm going to do now. Um, Tell me how my audio is sounding as well, if you guys can. I'm going to do my prediction for Stephen Fulton versus Daniel Roman. Now, first of all, Daniel Roman is a very good boxer, and he's a busy boxer. Um, he reminds a little bit of Juan Francisco Estrada, a little bit. But he's a tighter with his technique, I find. And he's very good. Actually, when he fought MJ, I thought he actually was the one landing the more cleaner, better counters and shots. But they gave the belts to MJ. It is what it is. It's boxing. Hopefully they can run it back, or maybe as a rematch clause. But he's getting a second shot at a unified title. This time it's going to be the WBC WBO, and he's going up against Cool Boy Steph, aka Stephen Fulton, aka Scooter, my favorite fighter right now in boxing. Strangely enough. And um, Let me break down the both guys. Daniel Roman is a boxer, basically. Um, Stephen Fulton is also a boxer. Daniel Roman is not as sharp as Stephen Fulton is. Stephen Fulton has a better stance, better base, much more precise in his punching, I find, than Daniel Roman. Like I said before, Daniel Roman reminds me of Juan Francisco Estrada. He can bang, he can box, but he's more loose, he's more fluid with his punches, versus Stephen Fulton is much more precise, much more exact with his punches. Stephen Fulton will have the reach advantage. Stephen Fulton, of course, has not come up easy. He's fought, you know, very tough guys, uh, a lot of undefeated fighters. So this is not a new boat to him. A lot of people feel that because he faced Brian Figueroa, this would be an easier task for him. I don't think any fight is ever easier. He can make it look easier, but it doesn't mean it's easier. I think he's faster and sharper than, and he has a longer reach than Daniel Roman. So he's, um, in the game plan of things, Fulton, if you want to be first, I was listening to, who was it? Ellie Seckbeck was having an interview, and he was interviewing a brother who I'd seen. I think the first time I saw him was at the gym. Well, anyway, the brother is an Asian brother, but he knows boxing. I was interviewing him, and he said something like, you know, a lot of people say be first, but with a counterpuncher, it doesn't always work in your favor. Let me say this: when they say be first, it doesn't. Well, it does literally mean be first, but it also means be sharp. So it's sharpness, because you can be first. Uh, the counterpuncher could try to counterpunch you, and then you could set it. In other words, you could set a bait, because you're first, you get to dictate. So being first helps you to dictate what happens in a fight. So that's what I mean by be first. And if Stephen Fulton is first, because I'm telling you, he's extremely sharp. When I mean extremely sharp, what do I mean by sharp? Because a lot of times people don't even know what that means. So sharpness in boxing is being precise, um, being quick, um, having good timing. That's what we mean by be sharp, you know? So, for example, let's say I pop a jab at you, okay? I pop a jab at you. Now, I could pop a lazy jab. I could just throw my jab out there and bring my hands back slowly into defense, right? That's not being sharp, okay? Or if I throw a fast jab out there and I keep my hand out there in front of you and I don't bring it back for defense, I'm not being sharp. Being sharp means you're on point, or that you're doing everything right, but you're also doing it very at the right timing, with the right speed and everything like that. You're on. So that's what I mean by be sharp. Okay? So you're very aware of what's going on around, and you're able to react and also act appropriately. That's what they mean by be sharp. So when they be first, Be first, yes, it literally means be first, throw the first punch. But it also means also be first to react appropriately. Be first to get the right timing. Be first to get the rhythm of your opponent. Be first, you understand? Because you want to be ahead of your opponent. You always want to dictate what happens next. You want to be the chess player who's a couple moves ahead of the other guy. Okay? And to do that, you have to be alert. You have to be sharp. You see? Sharpness means alertness, awareness. It means you have proper reaction time. It means you have proper timing. You have proper placement. That's what they mean by be sharp. Okay? And that's what sparring's for. It's to sharpen up a fighter. Okay, so when I say that Stephen Fulton is sharper than Daniel Roman, that's what I mean by that. Okay, so for those of you who are watching this, if you are interested, you like what you're seeing, you can hit the like button, as well as you can also donate to me via PayPal, which I will put after this video has aired. So if you hang around or you stick around my channel for long enough, you can also donate to my PayPal. And thank you also for all the people who have donated to my PayPal so far. I thank you so very much for going through all that trouble and difficulty to do so. Thank you very much. But as I was saying, be sharp. That's what it is. Now, I think he's sharper, first of all, than Daniel Roman. I think also that he boxes with what I think is he has a little bit more adaptability than Daniel Roman. I don't know if Daniel Roman would fight the way he fought against Brian Figueroa, for example. I think just by the way how Daniel Roman fought against MJ, tells me he would try to war it out with Figueroa, who doesn't let up at all. He doesn't let up on you, and he switches and all of that. And so I think he might have gotten worn down. Brandon Figueroa might have knocked him out. Whereas Stephen Fulton mixed it up. He'd fight Daniel Roman sometimes on the outside, then he would get into the pocket and he'd fight him, but he'd throw all his shots down the center. He'd throw all his shots down the center, you know. And I thought it was a good game plan, by the way. And the other thing about Stephen Fulton is he comes from a gym, the same gym as Jerome Ennis, the same gym as, you know, very difficult fighter. Yes, I'm gonna say his name, Ray Robinson, not Sugar Ray Robinson, but Ray Robinson, and these are all difficult fighters I'm talking about here. And so you know he's got that pedigree. It's not just Philly pedigree. You know, you can be a Philly fighter. We know they're tough. We know some of them are well schooled, and they have a good sense of history. But I'm talking about the creme de la creme Philly fighters. You know, Scooter is one of those top notch guys. I don't think I think within I believe he's going to be on the pound for pound list before the end of next year. I think it could be before the end of this year. It could be before the end of this year because I think he's going to be undisputed. I think he's going to beat MJ. MJ is very strong. He wings a lot of punches. He is a southpaw, but I'm not really impressed with him. I didn't think that he actually beat Daniel Roman, to be honest with you. I thought Daniel Roman actually took that fight, but because he was fighting off the back foot. So I think that one of the keys for Stephen Fulton would be to push Daniel Roman back to make it look like he's winning the fight, and especially hit and not get hit, which is like the modus operandi for Jerome Ennis and Boots Ennis gym. You know, you try to swim without getting wet. So I think that that's what Stephen Fulton will have to do. I think he has all kinds of advantages over Daniel Roman. He's longer. Um, he's a little taller. Um, you know, he's sharper. You know, all those things kind of work in his favor. He can do more things. He's more adaptable. He's more malleable. So I think I think he wins this fight, and pretty convincingly. Some people say it's going to be a split decision. It's going to be close because Daniel Roman tends to rumble a lot. Again, he reminds me of Juan Francisco Estrada, just a little bit tighter. And he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, he's a good fighter. He was a unified champion, right? He got the two belts. He got the two belts together, and MJ got the belt. It was really supposed to have been before MJ spoiled the party. It was supposed to be Daniel Roman versus Stephen Fulton for undisputed, but then MJ came in and spoiled that. So MJ is very strong, though. I give him that, but I don't really see. All right, so when I look at Stephen Fulton versus Daniel Roman, I see a very chess-like competitive fight, but I think the edge definitely goes to Stephen Fulton, and I think he convincingly wins that fight. I mean, I thought he convincingly also won because he took the later rounds. He was boxing Brandon Figueroa, so I think he pulled away there. But I think he also convincingly won the Brandon Figueroa fight, even though it was a close fight. But I think this one's not going to be as close. I think Stephen Fulton is going to pull away from Daniel Roman because of those attributes that I just spoke about. Um, and so, being very versatile, being able to make adjustments. I think early on, Daniel Roman's going to show why he was a unified champion. And I think as we go down the stretch, the gap between Daniel Roman and Stephen Fulton in the fight is going to become more and more clear as Stephen Fulton does what he does. So I do see Stephen Fulton winning this fight. In fact, to be honest with you, I know I'm looking way past this fight, but I think that Stephen Fulton is going to become the first four belt unified, undisputed uh, super bantamweight, ever. And then, of course, the latest undisputed super bantamweight champion in how many years? It's just been I don't even know if they've ever had an undisputed super bantamweight champion. So that in itself may be another notable thing. And I really like Stephen Fulton. If you guys haven't seen him, if you don't know, you gotta watch him. I mean, he's terrific. I mean, he's terrific. And it's sad that the lower weight class is, fighters in the lower weight classes don't get to shine. But this guy, let me tell you something. One thing about Stephen Fulton, he wants all the smoke. If he decides he's going to dog you, he going to dog you. If he decides he's going to box you, he's going to box you. I mean, he can do it all. He can do it all. And he's so humble. And he's, I just like him. I really like him a lot. He's my favorite boxer. And after he becomes undisputed, I think he's going to move up in weight to featherweight. So can't wait to see this kid. I mean, this kid's the goods. I can't say it enough. I love his mindset as well. He's very playful and jokey. Otherwise, they call him Scooter, but I really like him. And he's really quick. He's really fast. Like he's God gifted, but he's not sitting down on his God gifting. He's working all the time. So I mean, you can't replace that. I mean, that's it right there, right? So yeah, inspiration to me too. Um, so Stephen Fulton, look out for that fight. That's also the same weekend with Devin Haney versus George Kambosos. Um, I I don't know who is going to be more spectacular when all is said and done, but I do believe the Daniel Roman fight versus Stephen Fulton, I think it's a much more competitive fight. I'm not saying it's going to be a closer fight. I'm saying it's going to be a much more in the rounds. It's going to be much more competitive than the Devin Haney George Kambosos fight, where I expect Devin Haney to dominate George Kambosos. And I'm not putting anything on Devin Haney. Trust me, they know what they're doing up over there. And with his father, without his father, doesn't matter. The game plan's the same, and they're going to go in there and execute the game plan, and that'll be that. Devin Haney's one of those fighters, like Floyd Mayweather, even George Kambosos, who they don't really need. I'm gonna say this: it's a plus for Devin Haney to have his father there, you know. But he's a big ass grown man. He can handle his story, and he knows the principles of boxing. He understands what you need to do. So I'm not really worried about Devin Haney. He knows what he's supposed to go in there and do. And he's got a Hall of Fame trainer who's going to be in the ring with him. Zab Judah's father is a Hall of Fame trainer, as far as I'm concerned. Carried Zab Judah to undisputed championship. And if there's anybody other than Bill Haney who should be in there with Devin Haney at this time, is Zab Judah's father, because he knows Devin Haney, first of all. He knows Devin Haney's style and what Devin Haney brings to the table. And he also knows what it takes to get your to raise a son or raise a child and make him undisputed. So if there's anybody, I know people say, they like to make fun of Joel Judah and say, you need to throw your hands. And I know people like to clown like that, but he's not really that. Okay, um, he was trying to get Zab Judah to throw. That's not going to be a problem with Devin Haney, first of all. So Joel Judah, who is Zab Judah's father, I mean, you can't get somebody. You can't get a better trainer. Trust me, you can't get a better trainer to be in that corner. A better trainer who is just there to kind of help Devin Haney with the pair of eyes, what he's seeing on the outside. Because Devin, here's the thing, Devin is the one making the decisions. Okay, Bill will tell him to do this or tell him to do that. Oh, Devin's supposed to give Bill some feedback on what he's seeing, what's happening, what can work, what does not work. All right. So ultimately, in the end, it's not your trainer that determines your career. It's not your corner. It's not your team. It's you. And ultimately, he's in charge of his career. He wanted this fight. He said, "Make the fight happen." His father did it. Okay. He's the one that has to go in the ring and do the fighting. It's not his father. He's the one that will have to make the adjustments when it's time. It's not his dad. So I mean, it'd be great to have your dad in the corner if you can get him, but it's not It's absolutely not necessary. It's him versus Kambosos, and he has to figure out Kambosos. He has to figure out Kambosos' style. So this is a great opportunity for him to be able to truly, without any kind of training wheel on, step into the arena and execute his fight. Right? I'm sure they all know what the game plan is, so just execute that. And if he's having difficulty figuring that out, I'm pretty sure Yoel Judah on the outside, seeing what's happening, will be able to give him feedback as to why he can't do. So if he explains to Yoel Judah, he says, hey, listen, why is it that I can't get this, or why is it I can't get that? If Yoel Judah can give him some kind of advice. But I remember Floyd being in the corner, and they were trying to get Floyd to execute him, saying, throw the jab against Carlos Bellamere. And Floyd was like, he's awkward, man. The jab don't work on him. Got to go to plan B, And Floyd started leading with right hands. And that's what caught Carlos Bellamere off guard. And so the fighter sometimes has to figure it out because his corner doesn't know what to do, okay? And the fighter just has to go out there and figure it out. And so you go out there and you figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the corner will tell you something that don't work. And you come back to the corner and say, it don't work. Right? And you let them know. Right? So they can get some feedback. And then you can, and if they don't know what to do, that's okay. It's on you now. You have to figure it out. And that's okay. Okay? How many times has Devin sparred this person or sparred that person? And he had to figure it out on his own. Okay? So this is nothing new. If you are a fighter, you're going to figure out what you need to do in the ring. Okay? The great ones, they do it. They find a way. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Thomas Hearns. Angelo Dundee didn't know what to tell Sugar Ray Leonard. Hearns' problem. He only said, you're blowing it, Leonard, you're blowing it. It was up to Leonard to figure that out. Now his corner, his real trainer, was telling him the body. But Leonard, and he figured it out. The great ones always do. He figured out, I got to put my hands up. I got to try and keep his hands at home. So I'm trying to occupy his hands to keep his hands at home. Okay, his right hand and his left hand. I'm going to walk to him. Close that distance and land those body shots. That's what he did. So you got to understand, with boxing, it's up to you, the fighter in that ring, to one, execute whatever you're told, if it is possible to execute it. And if not, you got to make the adjustment. You have to, after all your training, all the experience, you got to find a way. So that means you got to make an adjustment to solve the problem. And I think that Devin Haney, he's going to do that. Okay, he's going to do that. Because his father don't tell him nothing when he's sparring. His father just be watching the sparring. Right? He don't say nothing. Okay, the trainers don't say nothing. When they're working on stuff, they may say, oh, okay, go to the body more. Or pivot this way. Because you're working on things. all that stuff has to be. You have supposed to do all that stuff in training. In your training, you're supposed to be, make sure you got your business down and packed. In the ring, you don't expect your trainer to be telling you. All they may say is what you did in what you did in. I want you to do what you did in training. I just want what we work on. I want you to do that. So if you're not doing that, then you'll tell, okay, what's the problem? You got to do what we work on. What's the problem, right? And if the boxer can articulate it, fine. If the boxer can't articulate it, you say, okay, all right, reset and try again. And if you can't get it done, then do what you're doing until something works. That's how you go. So do what you're doing until something works. So if you can't get to the inside to walk the guy down, for example, but you're getting your jab pumping, okay, what working? Okay, keep doing what you're doing when it comes to pumping the jab, and when we get something to work, we're working. I'm smelling something. I wonder if I put something on the fire. All right, peoples, man, what you need in the building. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Stephen Fulton versus. Uh, so I think it's gonna go to a unanimous decision. Stephen Fulton. And that's what I got for now. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace. What you need out.